If you've heard the expression, debt is the root of all evil, you're not alone. When you're in debt, it's the end of your life, and while you're trying to pay it off, your debts continue to grow because no one lends money for free, and there's always interest. Despite this, the United States has accepted that total consumer debt is nearly $15 trillion, with the average debt per person exceeding $70,000. The gross domestic product of the United States, known as GDP, which is the total value of all goods and services produced in the country, is slightly more than $21 trillion. This means that the entire U.S. economy is valued in relation to this figure. However, there is some good news for those who are in debt. Not all of your debt is bad. This is not a widely held belief, as most debts are regarded negatively. That is, you may have debts on credit cards, car loans, and even student loans, and believe it will take a long time to pay them off. So you wonder, how can this debt be beneficial to me? To demonstrate how debt can be beneficial, consider how the wealthy continue to use their debt to make even more money. This may seem strange to you because debt is frequently used by people who don't have much money, but that is not how capitalism works. Debt is a powerful tool if used correctly, and in this video, I'll show you the top 5 ways rich people use debt to make even more money. So, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get this party started. Number 1. The majority of transactions involve debt. This may sound controversial, because borrowing money to start a business is a bad idea and something I would never do. But for traditional businesses, this is the best option. As an example, suppose you want to sell pens. It's a very common product that's almost always in demand. In that case, you should fly to China, find a factory that makes this type of pen with good quality and at a reasonable price, buy a container full of pens, ship it back to your country, and distribute it to your customers. But nowadays, unless it's a more complicated product that requires you to fly to the factory, this is mostly done online through sites like Alibaba. But here's the catch, you don't have to pay for the product first to have it. Let me explain how. Over the last 50 years, China has become the world's factory, producing literally everything. Thousands of factories work around the clock to produce everything the world requires and to make it easy to sell. Some of these factories would gladly work with you in a partnership, whether it's sending you some samples for you to promote and sell or directly for the customers. That's how business has worked for the last 50 years, in the US or any other country. In other words, you'd pay the factory and borrow more products, and if you can sell it for more than that, that's your profit. This plan is fantastic, and that's why selling is one of the most valuable skills you can acquire. Number 2 is refinancing. Because it has many loopholes, real estate debt refinancing is the best type of debt. You must pay more taxes if you don't have a mortgage. Rich people always have multiple mortgages so that they can take advantage of more tax breaks. Remember, for every dollar you would have paid in taxes, you save an extra dollar. But let me give you a more practical explanation of how wealthy people become even wealthier in real estate. Let's say you save $200,000. Isn't that a lot of money? But, to be honest, that's a pittance. You can't even buy a house, and you can't get an $800,000 mortgage because you have to put down 20%. But here's the secret. Assume you find a property for $500,000 that is in poor condition and requires some renovations, if not extensive. Then you go to a bank and get a mortgage by putting down 20%, in other words, the $1,000 you already have. Let's say you're going to spend 10% of the total cost of the house to renovate it, or $50,000. Then you return to the bank, this time to refinance your mortgage. The property was worth $500,000 when you got your first mortgage because it was in such bad shape that no one wanted to live there. But now that you've renovated it, people are interested in renting it out. So, suppose the market value of this property rises to $700,000, and you go to another bank to obtain a mortgage for 80% of the total value. But this time, 80% of $700,000 equals $560,000. So $400,000 of that money would go to the first bank that gave you your first mortgage, and after deducting another $50,000 for renovations, you'd be left with an extra profit of $110,000. $110,000 borrowed in your name, and you still have your property, which you can rent out to generate passive income and build equity, plus you won't have to pay taxes because you have a mortgage. This is a common practice among property investors. Do you still believe that having this kind of debt is bad? I'll leave it to you to respond in the comments section down below. Hedge funds are ranked third. Hedge funds are created by the wealthy for the wealthy in order to increase their wealth, and they frequently employ unconventional strategies. Ordinary people like you and me try our best to predict which companies will grow and increase in value, and we invest our money in those companies in the hopes of making more money. However, hedge funds employ entirely different strategies. They try to make money when companies fail or go bankrupt, as GameStop did. In this case, however, the internet has presented a challenge to the hedge funds, causing them to lose more than $13 billion. But how do hedge funds profit from debt? Let me explain. Assume you believe Facebook stock will fall because you know Apple, the maker of the world's most popular smartphone, will announce next week that it will no longer allow apps like Facebook and Instagram to track your online activity. This will severely harm Facebook's business model, so you contact your broker and borrow a single share of Facebook worth, say $100, and immediately sell it on the open market for $100. Congratulations! You now have $100 in your pocket, but your broker still owes you a share of Facebook. Therefore, let's say you were correct and the price of that same share drops to $70 the following week. You buy it for $70, return it to the broker, and pocket the difference. You have won $30. This appears to be simple, but it is extremely difficult and dangerous in practice. What would happen if you were mistaken? What if the price doubled overnight, but you still had to return that single Facebook share to your broker and pay interest on the share you borrowed? To return it to your broker, you would have to buy it back for $200. When you buy a stock and sell it when it rises, the most you can lose is the amount you invested. However, if you short sell and the price continues to rise, your losses will increase. You can thus have unlimited losses because the stock price can theoretically rise indefinitely. However, if you have analysts on your team, you can make a fortune using this strategy. Number 4. Forex. Forex is a market where currencies are traded, allowing for international trade. You can use US dollars in China, but you must first purchase Chinese yen in order to pay your employees there, for example. In this way, there is a market where anyone or any company can buy foreign currencies, and the value of these currencies fluctuates based on various factors, such as the Fed raising interest rates, which limits the supply of dollars in the market and makes the dollar stronger against the other currencies, or vice versa. You can make a lot of money in this market if you can predict which currencies will rise or fall. But what distinguishes this Forex market from others is that for every dollar you use to trade Forex, you can borrow an additional $100, which means that if you trade with $1,000, you can hold a position worth $100,000. If you end up making a small profit, such as 1%, you will have made an excellent profit. Number 5. Credit score. This is a powerful tool that every successful business or entrepreneur employs in a variety of ways, particularly if you have a proven business model. Almost all businesses borrow money to finance purchases or orders. Of course, high-interest debt, such as credit card debt, isn't good at all, even though in order to obtain a lower interest rate, you must reduce the risks for the lender. And how do you do it? Establishing a track record of being a responsible borrower. Think about it. There are billions if not trillions of dollars in banks waiting to be borrowed. Banks can create money whenever they want. That will be the topic of a future video. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please subscribe and enable notifications. Welcome to our channel, where you will learn everything there is to know about money, investing, stock market, and cryptocurrency. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.